back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a nice and simple video where I basically show every single possible component, and I think this video will really help people out. So it'll probably be one of my better videos I've made. I'll just get everything set up and we'll start the video. So we'll start with some of the more common things. To begin with, we got mlccs and SND resistors. So that's an mlcc. You get them all different sizes, some are massive, some are small. You get different coloured ones. So up here we got some different colours, and right here you'll see writing on them. They're S&D resistors. Another example, S&D resistor. So to get them off, I just get a big I'll do it from this angle, easier. So you get that like that. So almost every single board will have S&D resistors. So for these, you get your chisel. You can use different shapes and sizes. So you've got a big chisel here, and you literally, on top of a thing like this, they can slide off. Chisel them off, so you get some smaller chisels to go up here. You don't have to remove the S&D resistors together, you can have them separate. I like to keep them separate together because you get processed the same, and people, if you're selling them, people buy them the same, because I'll go through what's in them in a sec. It's very much just like all you do, hammer them off nice and easy. Flip them upside down, you can see them all falling off. They're a little bit wet, this board, so do with a tap to get off. I moved them and stuck in the pots. This is an example. Oh, a little bit wet, so stick to my fingers. They're proper heavy. So this little lot here is like 300-400 grams, and you can see it's not many. You can see it compared to my hand. There's barely anything there. Yes, they weigh a lot, but they can be separated between magnetic and non-magnetic. The non-magnetic ones are real risky. They quite often don't contain any precious metals. They should contain silver and palladium, and sometimes there's gold and things like that. And the S&D resistors is normally just silver, but you can get small amounts of ruthenium and things like that. It's quite rare to see anyone recover it, because it's not really worth recovering the ruthenium. The S&D resistors, no matter what, you're pretty much guaranteed a little bit of silver. There's always silver in some. But the mlccs are a lot more riskier. They're worth a lot more than the S&D resistors, by the way. But I have a buyer that will pay me $50 per kilo of these mlccs. So that's where I sell mine. If you do get if you get a lot of non-magnetic, save the non-magnetic and get them processed, because those are much more likely to have precious metals, because they swap the palladium for nickel in the newer ones. The nickel's obviously magnetic, and that's the reason. So most of these are non-magnetic. Nearly all of them are non-magnetic. Very few are actually magnetic. So non-magnetic, sorry. So I sell these at $50 a kilo. Much easier. So next up we've got IC chips. So that's the big black chips which have legs. That's an IC chip. So for these, nice and simple, I chuck them down, hammer, chisel. So you can see the IC there. Couple taps. Tap the hammer as well, isn't it? On the headphone side. Better not be doing that. Alright, let's carry on. I'll use the other chisel to get in a bit easier. Sometimes they break up, it's not a problem. We've obviously got the little ones there as well, but I'm not going to spend too much time on them for the video. As you can see, you've got a little handful there. Each leg will have a bond wire, so these ones are going to be better than these ones on average. The ones with less legs quite often have thicker bond wires though, so hard to tell, but I'd say these are worth more. Each leg will have a bond wire, whether it's copper or gold, you can't tell until it's processed, but most likely it's going to be gold. and it'll have a silicon die in the middle, and then it'll have the bond wires going to it. The bond wires are pure gold or pure copper. The yields obviously depend. Normally about 1 gram of gold per kilo of them, but sometimes you get way more, sometimes you get way less, obviously depending on how many legs they got and if it's gold or copper bond wires. To process it, you pretty much just basically, you burn them, shake them up until it's a powder, use a magnet to remove the legs, put it through a sieve to remove all the silicon dies in the middle and make sure all the bond wires go through, so it has to be quite a fine sieve. And then you just put the ash into some water, mix it up until it's all in the water properly, not floating, and then you just decant half the solution, fill up with water again, and keep doing that until you can just see gold. And then the gold then can be refined if there's copper in there. If it's just plain gold, which is rare, but if it is like that, you can just straight mount and you get gold. Anyway, next up, got MOSFETs. Nice and simple, just remove them. There are 2 MOSFETs off already. So you can get other types as well, like this one. You don't have to see the copper backs on them every time. Oh, that one does, but still. Some are soldered down like that one, so you need a chisel and hammer to get that off. Approximately, obviously, again it depends, about half the weight of this would be copper, like this back. The silver back is just tin plated or nickel plated copper. It can depend. Sometimes they're silver plated as well, but it wouldn't be worth recovering. So half the weight of that would be copper, and again with the legs it can be copper or gold bond wires going to, just like the chips. It depends big. See, I've got lots here. I've seen a few people process and it seems to be about 1 gram of gold per 20 kilos of these. So it depends, you can get some big ones. So it really does vary. You can also get the long ones. Long ones can be SIP ICs, which is just one-sided ICs. I just chuck them all in together. Anything like that goes in together with a big copper back, because if it doesn't have gold, you've got copper anyway. It's going to be worth burning for the copper. Next up, we've got different types of BGA. So there we've got a nice gold corner, and there we've got standard BGA. You get standard BGA on phone boards and RAM boards as well as boards like this. So to remove, again, it's nice and simple. Separate like that, just knock it off the board. And then for these ones, these are gold corner, tip up the ends. As you can see, the top and the bottom are separate. These bottom ones get processed together. I can't find my bag of the other ones. I did have like a couple of these pots full worth, and it's I stuck it all into a big bag and I can't find where I put them. But normally they have a bottom like that which is plated. Obviously this has ripped it off. These get processed separately like an IC chip would, but these are worth a lot more. These again, they depend whether it has copper or gold bond wires. You could get 0 grams of gold, you could get a lot. My typical average is about 10 grams of gold per kilo of these tops, and a standard one, which is a bit bigger than this, is about 2 or 3 grams per top. So you're going to get about $1 per piece, so worth good money, very good money. But that's if it's gold bond wires. So there's always going to be a risk, but you never know. So got some more of the standard BGA. These standard BGA is going to be worth a bit more than RAM BGA. These ones down on here. And obviously phone boards are going to be worth even more than this. So again with these, just standard. Right, if I can actually hit it. Let's get that one off instead. It's come off nice and easy. As you can see, BGA have solder on the bottom and not legs. BGA stands for ball grid array. So it's just the ball grid is obviously the solder. So it's the same, but they're a lot more modern than IC chips, a bit more modern, and they're a bit better made. Again, it's obviously risky. Your newer stuff's going to have less chance of having gold than the older stuff, but they can really depend. Obviously, RAM type will yield you anywhere between 1 gram and 2 grams, and that's assuming that you've got average with gold and all that. If you don't, then you could have just all copper. And foam boards and boards like this, you can get anywhere up to like 6 or 7 grams per kilo, but I like to stick to about 1 to 2 grams just to be safe. Next up, we've got fuses. These type of fuses, so glass ones, nice and easy, just pop up. So inside these fuses, oh, there's another one here. This board had 3. Inside these fuses, as you can see, you can't see, but it's hard to tell, there's a long wire. Those wires are quite often pure silver. Again, it varies, they can be anything really, but if that's silver, then the caps of these have silver plating in. 909 Doosan again done a video on this and got 10 grams of silver per kilo, so pretty good for silver, and there's not very much processing to do to them because it's mostly just glass, and obviously glass doesn't require acid, or you can just knock it off, shove them in. So I've got a nice bag of those fuses. Not really much to say to them. If you want to sell them for a few dollars a kilo, I'm sure you can. What should I do next? Next up, we'll do crystal oscillators. There's many different types. So sure you do. Get your side cutters or pliers and just pull them off nice and quick. I've done a video recently spending hours just removing them. Just chuck them in the bag. To get a nice bag, that was, I think I'd done a marathon of just doing these. I've got more, but I've done a marathon of just doing these, and I think I got a kilo in a couple of hours, so not terrible. It's different sizes and shapes. There's a big fat one here. These fatter ones will have a little mini IC and all that inside, and these longer ones are the same as the little ones but long, obviously. To open these, if you fancy doing that, see there, side cut across the bottom. Across, you see there, squeeze. Didn't quite cut open, but there. Drop it across the room. No, but these side cutters are a bit worn out, but we're getting there. Bit of a stubborn one, but got a piece of metal there, just steel. And if you open this up, there you go, open the end, pour it into your hand. It'll have a disc inside, as you can see. The casing was a steel, by the way. That disc is silver plated crystal, that's why it's called crystal oscillators. It's just got a bit of silver plating, nothing much. The larger ones, obviously, things like that, will have an even bigger silver disc, and maybe an IC and things like that. You've got square ones and all that. The little ones are literally the exact same as the one I just done, just a much smaller one. Some have gold plated bottoms. Also, these black cases, if you break them open, can have a little mini one in, so don't forget about them. I'll just try to find you a gold plated one. I've got quite a few in there, I couldn't really find no. Gold plated at the bottom there. I've heard the gold plating on these are pretty thick. My camera keeps going out of focus, and as soon as it does that, it lowers the quality of my videos, it's annoying. But as you can see there, it's gold plated. Thick gold plating there. Typically you won't find gold plated ones, they're quite rare to find. But your standard ones like these, you're literally going to get about 6 grams of silver per kilo. Again, it varies on the types and things like that. But out of how I've seen people doing it, you get about 6 grams of silver, and it's a lot of work, so I'd recommend selling these. Definitely don't waste your time when opening them. There is other ways. I've heard people using lead cupels, which I know Owltech likes doing, and you basically just cut them open and chuck them in there, and they'll dissolve any silver. Next up, we've got tantalum. You can see these yellow capacitors. You get black ones as well, a bit one gone. There we go, there's the other. As you can see, it's just a yellow box. Some companies buy them for about $20 a pound. I think it's a little less than that now, but again they vary. I know eBay will pay you a bit more than that, and I saw 99 Deucen did a video recovering silver from the black ones, and you got a lot. I can't remember what it was, something like 70 grams of silver per kilo. A lot of silver. Here's another one I did in a video, spent a couple of hours on. Just the tantalum. So as you can see, these black ones which look very similar. You can see there some white writing on, and then there's also, these are a lot rarer. There's also some orange ones you can find. It's the same again, but orange. Not much to there. I'll put these yellow ones I just done in. There we go. Right, next up, might as well do gold plating. So on your board you're going to get a bunch of connectors. Where's my thing? Hang on, I'll pause the video and find it. I found it as soon as I paused the video. Right, so you can see connectors across there. You see a couple have gold pins poking out. So all I do, camera nearly went then. Close some. Let's carry on. As you can see, connectors are off. With these, they'll have connectors as well. All I do is once the board's completely empty, so pretend it's got nothing else on this board, you just lift this plastic up. I've done a video where I also take these off the same way as I just done those, but then you're stuck with, it's quite hard to process like that. I've got a few keylers, I'm going to attempt to process them in acid as they are. But lift them up. Get your plastic off, no pins left in that. And as you can see here, you've got super low grade pins. I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera. Plastic torch on. Battery's too low. But you might just about be able to see very fine plating. Once it's empty, I take all the plastic off those 5 and I just put them in acid as it is, and it'll just dissolve the pins and leave the gold plate, and then you just scoop this board out after. Yeah, and these I'll move on to afterwards. Let me finish this. So you got these, which is your USB and your Ethernet port. You begin by putting this metal case. It'll have, as you can see, where it's connected on. Right. You pulled this metal piece off. So this metal piece, don't test with a magnet because sometimes it's stainless steel, and which is non-magnetic, can be non-magnetic, and also you don't know which metal is underneath. You break it open, as you can see on this one. It's going to be hard to see. You got to break it, not cut it. If you cut it, the metal on the outside will fold in, and you'll just be able to see that. Battery's low, but there's brass. That one's brass. So this goes into your brass pile. And inside here, nice and simple, you just, it's not wide enough. Kind of break it open, Wherever you see a line where it looks like it's easily going to be broken, as you can see there, snap that off. Might have to continue this video tomorrow, but we've got that now. Those work the same way. I'm sure you can get how it's done. And then we've got this piece which you're just pulling out, and then you've got gold pins sticking out which you just rip off. Gonna try to rush through this video. These are the same, you just pull them through. As you can see, gold pin is out. All that's just copper underneath. This is just steel. Is that done? These I'm sure you can get. It's the same way. You get how you see gold pins poking through on that one. Bit of brass. Right. Next we'll do CPU slots. So actually, we check the gold pin things in here, but I'll sort that out after. CPU slots too wide. This one's a chisel. Firstly, I take these mlccs off, which are poking through, because obviously you're just going to knock them off otherwise. You take the slot off. So all the mlccs out. Get your paint scraper. Oh, I forgot to say about the gold pins, they vary, obviously every single pin's worth different. I like to aim for half a gram to a gram of gold per kilo, just because a lot of them are super low grade. CPU slot off. If there's any metal, sometimes these are metal, you just snap them off, but this one's not. Right, this one's got some plastic you don't need. This white. I saw the battery died on my camera, and it's the next day now, so I can carry it on. I've probably going to forget some things. I'll have to try to memorise as much as I can. So back, I was just removing the plastic casing from this, our CPU. So you just, if it's metal, you can remove the metal and put it in your steel pile. This is just a white plastic on top. So you remove this plastic. I'm going to hide the camera a little bit. Don't need this grey piece of plastic. Right, see, plastic comes off and you're left with that. I like to just snip this piece off. And then that has your gold pins in, and you solder on the bottom. I chuck that straight into acid as it is, and the gold pins all come out of that. You just shake it in water after all the base metals are dissolved, and all the foils will come out, nice and simple. Right, next we've got ceramic oscillators. One of your higher grade things on motherboards. Let me just grab my pliers. Just grab your pliers, or you can use a chisel and a hammer, which I like to do over a long tongue, because otherwise this is just going to ache your hands doing this over and over. But you can see your crystal oscillator there. Has gold around the outside, and I'll show you what they look like inside. It's a nice little twist. And they come off. Chuck it into your gold oscillator pot. Let's grab another board to show you. Oh, and just to show you, earlier I was showing you crystal oscillators, which is similar, but they have silver in. This one, this is what the ones with gold look like. Tear them off, bit of plastic there. Gold plated bottom, and the legs are gold plated on this one as well. That's a nice little board. Check that into my oscillator bag. I've got a lot of those gold plated ones. It might make for a good video one day. Do that. Right, another crystal oscillator. Nice, just twist them off. I'm going to show you it on a board. Motherboard as well. sometimes they break, it's not a problem. And I'll just show you it with a chisel and a hammer as well, another alternative way. This way is better if you're doing it over a long period of time, long amount of time. Just a chisel underneath, away. Put your finger on top so it don't fly away. A few taps and it comes off. As you can see, it's the bottom, the top. That's literally it. These get anywhere between 5 and 10 grams of gold per kilo. I'd say closest to 10 grams mark. The reason they have so much, actually there's an open one there, but I'll show you. Around the outside here, you might see some, be able to see some gold. Okay, it's very slight gold around the outside there, you can see, but that's actually just pure gold stuck on. It's not plated, it's just literally just full pure gold. And then I'll show you a photo of one inside now. So that's what they look like with the bond wires. And some of them also have like a crystal inside, like a crystal oscillator with that silver material. So if you want to recover it for the silver as well, you get a few grams of silver. They add up decently quick, so they're real heavy, like that's over 50 grams there, and as you can see, only not very much there. Right, next thing, I'm going to show you gold pins again, but show you some other stuff. So we've got IDE here. It can be brass. I'll just snip the plastic side off so you can see a bit easier. See, nice gold plated pins. The camera keeps coming out of focus. Nice gold plated pins, and then you can get plated pins like that. Those you expect over a gram of gold per kilo at least. They're decently nice pins. Anything like these, you'd be surprised when you lift up how good they are. Put out just to show you. Again, I'm sure there'll be a few grams of gold per kilo on them. But to remove them, obviously you just snip them off the pliers. I don't think I need to go as far to show you all them. Or anything like that plated stuff, you just stick in copper chloride and you throw it out, fill up the foil with some mount obviously. This stuff is the same, you just put it in copper chloride ID, and then I chuck it into air along with all the ceramic and just refine nice and simply with that. You can do some pins like the IDE straight in copper chloride even with the plastic. You just scoop the plastic out after, a bit like you would with gold fingers. Gold fingers you obviously all know about already. I haven't got any to show you, I don't think. I'll chuck some more in my acid. But obviously you just snip them off the ram and things like that and chuck them acid as they are. Right, next up, ceramic ICs, eproms and things like that. Inside you have that. Some don't have the glass window, some do. I think this one does. So move the sticker. Yields vary on this, they're pretty similar to normal ICs. This one actually has aluminium bond wires and no gold around the outside. But to open them up, if it does have gold, just simply grab a hammer. Hang on. Grab a brick or something. Oh, it's out and broke up. They normally don't break like that. But just give them a few taps on their side. They just break open. They wouldn't normally break up as bad as that. They normally just break straight in half, but as you can see, aluminium wires you can see going across. Sometimes there'll be gold, and then sometimes there's gold at the bottom. These are worthless, so they're just going straight into my bin. No value there. Some like this one, I don't have any with gold bond wires to show you. But this one, for example, hang on, has gold brazing. A little bit like the ceramic oscillators I was showing you. That'd be just pure gold, it won't be plated on. Be nice plate in there. So just save them up. Along with that, they just come out of slots a bit like some ICs do. Next we've got relays, I'll show you. So these boxes, if they're brittle, there'll be a relay. So I dig my side cutters in, it's broken open, so that's a relay. Just nice and easy, rip off your board. That part's just copper, so I can go into my copper pile for processing what I need to do. I'm just going to knock the you can't really see because they're tiny when it focuses. Little tiny silver dots, that would be almost pure silver. She's basically break them open, have some I'll show you with this one just because they're slightly bigger. So to remove, you just get your chisel. Yeah, this one will do. Give it a few taps. This is probably the worst chisel to use, but my chisels are all inside. Break them open. There we go, the plastic's off there. That's what they look like. So you always got your copper there, got all copper, nice amount. On the top here, you'll see it goes over the top. And there's your silver contact there. So to save them, you just snip it across there and save that piece. You can then stick it in copper chloride to remove the copper on the back, and then just refine silver like normal. There's another piece there, and then there'll be another one underneath there. So you just save them as they are. Add up nice and quick, they do for silver. Right, next up I'll show you what we can find. So there obviously we have the relay, because they break open nice and easy. This one, you squeeze, it's actually not breaking, it's solid. And inside this will just be aluminium foils if I just break it. As you can see, it's just aluminium. They just get thrown into my scrap aluminium, dirty aluminium pile. So those aren't relays, so it's just a simple way just to squeeze. If they don't break, then they're not relays. Next, what I want to show you is this. That's a ceramic. You'll be able to tell it's a ceramic. It's heavy and feels weird. Don't break them, they're very dangerous. It's berrylium oxide, which is real bad for your lungs. All I do, snip the two ends, and that just goes straight into my bin. I don't know if it has any precious metals. I've never looked into it and never really cared, just because it's not worth health problems. There's not going to be much in there anyway if there is, so it's just not worth it. Next we got aluminium capacitors. Again, pull off, that goes into your scrap aluminium, dirty aluminium pile. Next we got copper. So you find them in places like this. So you can literally, anything ferrite, which is just this breaky up metal, magnetic, it'll have copper inside. You see there's copper there. It's pretty much everywhere like that, anything like that. And this little piece here, rip it off, it should have copper inside. Yeah, there, look, broken up. And then obviously your typical copper you can see there. I chuck these pieces into my scrap steel. Open that up. That goes into your steel. And you've got a nice little piece of copper, goes into your copper pile. Nice and simple. Next I'll show you is the silver colour pins poking up. If you want to go as far to save them, you can. I'll just show you. If I can open it up, I'll use my side cutters actually and move these aluminium capacitors. Anything silver poking up, it'll be pretty much the same. Some can be silver plated, but even then it's not really worth worrying about. Silver's too cheap and it's too much work to get on plated things like that. This stuff isn't silver plated. Stuff stuck down well. What I use instead, a fat chisel, and I just knock it off. I always leave them on just to show you. I'll take them off. You can pull your pins out. You can see there's no gold on there, but what it does have, if you break them open, this one's brass. You might not be able to see, but inside it's brass. They can be copper or brass. Most of the time they're brass, so you can chuck them into your brass pile. Relays, not relays, fuses, the metal caps on the end are normally brass as well. Definitely check them. These big things of epoxy poking up are normally aluminium as well, just to do a quick check. I know these ones are, but I'll show you anyway. Aluminium, see? Obviously you got cable, you already know about. Copper, don't mistake those for these. These ones which are metal, if you break open, you'll be able to see copper. Batteries, I like sticking in the bin. Some have silver. If it says lithium, then they definitely have no silver. If it doesn't say lithium, then there's a chance it will contain silver. I don't know why I'm calling it silver. Silver. So that's straight in the bin. They're quite dangerous. You don't want to be keeping them too long. Again, aluminium there. You can knock off. Then you've got your aluminium capacitors. Another little battery here. Little mini one. Some batteries have gold-plated pins holding it in. And nice little relay on like this board. Anything like these, again, check if they're steel, snap them, don't cut them, bend them until they're broken, and you'll see brass. If it is brass, you'll see it inside. Any gold plating on boards like these, most of the time are Enig, which is the thinnest plating, but it's still plated. So you can save boards when they're empty, take everything off. Once it's empty, you can just chuck hundreds of kilos in like that and just recover the gold off in copper chloride. Nice and simple. Little fuses like this will have silver inside. There's a chance to have a silver wire. They're not brilliant. You'll get a few grams of silver per kilo, not a whole lot. Some have gold plated ends. The gold plated ones are pretty good, thick gold. And again, they'll have silver inside, the gold plated ones will as well. All of these are copper. so just come off. You're seeing copper inside, and obviously you got your Ethernet RJ45 ports, gold. I'll pause the video and see if there's anything else. These little switches on boards, I find a 4-1. That's not full. Little switches like that. If you open them up, they'll have gold plating. Some have gold plates like that, just gold plated on. Some are pins, and some have little gold balls on. Definitely save them, they're quite good plated inside. Obviously these are where your ribbon cables come from. Your ribbon cables go inside there. They'll have some thin gold pins. Normally check first before you stick them in the thing, just to be 100% sure. Switches there, it's like I showed you a second ago. Slots where ICs slot in, sometimes you have the slots. Most of the time they don't have gold plating, but these types, you might be able to see, these ones especially, you can see gold plated inside. It's not very gold plated, but the gold plated area which is gold plated is very thick with gold. Oh, the camera nearly went then, thought it was my knee. Digital displays. Each LED inside will have a bond wire, whether it's copper or gold. I check them in with my chips. And then obviously, now I've said that, LEDs contain a bond wire inside, whether it's copper or gold. You don't know until it's processed. These ones are cool ones because they've got multiple gold bond wires. You might be able to see just at the bottom. See some gold bond wires poking out. All gold in there. LEDs sometimes have these behind, and as you can see, bond wire in each. Simple, if it has a gold bond wire, save them. If you can see a silver one poking out, then it's obviously aluminium. You can just chuck them away. The brass pieces save up quite quickly. This little pot here weighs half a kilo because it's just these little pieces and they're brass. Chuck them in a pot and they really do save up. Add up real quick. Next I'll show you coloured capacitors. So you get your blue capacitors like this. A few kilos here. And they contain silver. There's a chance to contain silver. They're mixed amounts. You've got yellow ones. Again, they're the same as the blue. They contain silver, but it should be a little bit more. And then these are the ones I haven't sorted. The red ones, I've never actually really checked, but I've seen 999 Doosan done a test and it come up positive for palladium. Don't know if it's a lot or a little bit, but it's definitely palladium, so it's worth saving. And obviously I've got these to test. All these green ones now apparently worthless. I save them anyway just in case. People used to say the red ones are worthless until they found out they're PD or palladium. Once your board is empty, it does have copper inside. If it's like a green board, this board got burnt in a fire by accident when my shed went up on fire once, and as you can see, that's a leaf. But piece of copper you can literally just pull off. There you go, some copper there, and it's got lots of copper. Half the weight of these boards are copper. The other half is just a fibre plastic. The back here you can see that. All that's just copper. Just layers of copper. All that is just a big sheet of copper. Low grade boards are not copper, that's why they break so easy. These ones will have one layer of copper, one real thin layer where this green mask is, and whereas the green boards will have multiple layers, like 12 or more. These though do have nice solder, so once your board's completely empty, if you want, you can heat the board up and tap over water, and obviously the solder will fall off nice and quick, but obviously it leaves smoke, fumes, which you don't want to be smelling in, so keep safe doing that. If there's any component I've not showed which you're not sure on, be careful with, because you don't want to be breathing in any dangerous fumes or anything from them. Some are dangerous, especially old ones, old things have dangerous chemicals. I don't think I showed these yet. So these are tactical switches, so they're the buttons. You see they press in. These are a bit rotten and old because they've been outside. But nice and simply, just twist off and they come off nice and quick. Let me find my pot of tactical switches. So you just nice and quickly pull them all off. Like this one actually, that one broke, I've heard to show you. See this board's empty now, but I left one tactical switch on. It'll have a little silver circle which can be silver plated, but not every time. And then inside you got your silver dot. This one has more silver than most. There's a little silver dot which the that silver disc gets pushed into, and that is a bit like relays. It's close to pure silver apparently, but it does yield a lot, I know for sure, because 99 Doosan got just over half an ounce of silver per kilo of those, which, considering there's a lot of plastic in them, that's not bad. They do add up. They don't add up like the other stuff do actually, they're quite slow to save. There's thousands in here, tens of thousands, and it literally weighs a couple hundred grams. It takes a lot to get anything from them, so they're not actually that brilliant, but might as well save them, they're quick to take off. Oh, also, these here can be tantalum. I don't think these ones are. I'm not too sure on this type of tantalum because I don't ever save it, just because wet tantalum capacitors are pretty worthless really. They're not worth a whole lot. See, for all I know, that could be tantalum. I think it actually could be. I don't know. I'll save it in a pot anyway. But check on the internet for that. One thing I haven't showed you in here, there is many other types of tantalum I haven't showed, but you don't see it that often, so it's not really worth showing. You get the dip, these ones are quite common actually as well, the dip tantalum capacitors like this. Same as the SMD, worth the same. I'll just show you as well. I've already showed you mlccs, these are old style mlccs, don't mistake these for tantalum. So you get these ones which are soldered on a bit like a relay would be, not a relay, a resistor. Little silver dot, and big square ones and little round ones. To check, you just rip the corner, break the corner with some side cutters, and you'll be able to see inside it has like a little mini mlcc, so that was used to be one. And they're worth a lot more than standard mlccs. Everyone seems to be getting different yields, but all of them's been getting over 5 or 6 grams of palladium per kilo. Obviously palladium being more expensive than gold, that's good to get. I think I've already mentioned the cases on these can be brass. I know these ones almost always are on these types of things. You see brass shown through. I can just pull that off if I wanted. And you've got yourself a few grams of brass. I'm not going to do it, but you can see nice and quickly save that. So that's the old style mlccs there. One sat there, one sat there. Nice and quick to save. Any relays like these, almost worthless. You can break the ends and just check if there's any gold plating on the tips, but they're rare. It's not really worth worrying too much about. Anything like these, save in your pile of coloured capacitors because they'll have silver. That orange one I know does have silver, good silver. Other ones don't, some do, they all get chucked together in my pile. I think that's about everything. I'll show you everything I need to show. Obviously when you remove BJ, it's good to have a pot underneath so you can save the solder what falls off. Quite a lot falls off. You can put it in a nice little bar. Hang on, I'll just show you. This is a bar from solder I got. A few hundred grams. Tin's worth good money, and that's not just tin, that'll have other precious metals in as well. That bar is from BJ's only. I got about 3 kilos of solder from just backs of boards like that, which I heated up and knocked off. 3.4 kilos I think it was, to be exact. obviously you got your gold pins on boards like this. These are hard drive boards. Break the two tips which hold it together, and then yank off. Some pins will stay like that. Most will just stick out. You can just pull out. Nice and quick, bend back and forward so they come off. I think that's about it. If I've missed anything, let me know in the description and I'll make a part 2 on the stuff I've missed. Obviously some rare things I've missed on purpose just because no one ever sees them. If you wanted to see stuff like that, let me know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.